Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now May 3rd of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that as of this moment right now, that a lot of Star Wars fans around the world are still very much divided over what Disney had done with the sequel trilogy. There's no doubt about that. You know, for starters, with The Last Jedi, a lot of fans, including myself, really disagreed with how Rian Johnson used the character of Luke and really even ignored specific Jedi lore. And then moving into The Rise of Skywalker, we could obviously see that that was Disney's attempt to really do some patchwork from The Last Jedi and to really kind of fix things and bring things back together. And it did not work entirely because it didn't do all that well at the box office. There weren't as many repeat viewings among many Star Wars fans, which, in my opinion, is crucial to a very successful, Star Wars movie or Marvel movie because the fandom is very strong. So, when we look at everything related to what Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are trying to do, is that they're currently developing a new Star Wars universe. And what I mean by that is, you're going to have books, novels, comics, video games, movies, TV shows, and live-action TV series in the mix that are all going to be a part of this new EU that they plan to make far more successful than the MCU, which I think is going to be a very tough challenge to really complete. Whether or not they will be able to meet their goals really all depends on who they're going to be hiring, right? What kind of creatives. Now, the one creative that a lot of fans are really up in arms over is Leslye Headland of the all-female led Star Wars TV series. So, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, both Disney and Lucasfilm have been hard at work on developing their new Star Wars universe and making many plans to reunite the fans around the world to create a better and brighter future for the Star Wars brand in general. Now, both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are working together as a team in order to undo many of Kathleen Kennedy's ideas. However, one project remains for Kathleen Kennedy to take full creative control over, which is the Leslye Headland Star Wars TV series for Disney+. Now, it's noted that Leslye Headland is able to have full creative control alongside Kathleen Kennedy, and that both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek have been very angry over the decision by Kennedy to hire Leslye Headland for the TV series. Now, behind the scenes, it's noted that George Lucas wants Leslye Headland fired from Lucasfilm and Star Wars in general, and wants her away from the Star Wars brand and the franchise, and that George Lucas has been in the talks with Bob Iger and Bob Chapek about this, and that it was a very difficult process to complete, since by contract, Kathleen Kennedy was able to hire whoever she wanted. Now, George Lucas is said to be very offended over the fact that Headland will not be respecting his vision for Star Wars, and she will only be, of course, ignoring George's structure for Star Wars and the rules of the franchise. Now, Headland is actually described to ignore the universe of Star Wars and wants to start with the ground up, of course, by changing specific moments in history of a specific timeline in Star Wars, where George Lucas, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni are all said to be the main people working on the new Star Wars universe. However, Headland wants to do a project that will change aspects of the past, and that George is against that concept. Headland and Kennedy are said to be in the talks with director Rian Johnson to play a big part in directing the new Star Wars TV series, where Rian Johnson is said to be in the talks with Headland for her, of course, to use some of his ideas from his abandoned new Star Wars trilogy that was separated into multiple films by Bob Chapek months ago. The all-female led Star Wars TV series is said to have tons of identity politics and personal agendas that will focus away from storytelling properly, and that this is another reason why creator George Lucas wants Leslye Headland fired from the Star Wars brand, as she is altering not just that, but lore, of course, of the history and meaning of Star Wars as well. Now, though this will be Kathleen Kennedy's only project that she will be able to control, it will be a project that many fans will dislike. So, the thing about this Leslye Headland Star Wars TV series, right, and I've talked about this multiple times before, is that Leslye seems out of touch with the Star Wars franchise. She doesn't really know exactly what to do or how to handle it, right? Now, the thing about Leslye Headland, like I say, if you want an all-female led Star Wars TV series, that's fine, as long as it fits the story and the story is very rich in material. That I have no problem with. But when you have a creator coming forward and really stepping into a brand that they don't really care that much about, they're not really a fan about, they just want to show their own vision by using the Star Wars brand, pushing their identity politics, their personal agendas, and so on and so forth. That's when it's not okay with me, and I'm sure that's when it's not okay with a lot of you guys out there. So George has every right to feel the way that he does of wanting Leslye Headland to get fired, and has actually been in the talks with Bob Iger and Bob Chapek on how it really could be possible and what type of scenario would even get her fired, because by contract, Kathleen Kennedy is able to choose who she pleases for this new Star Wars TV series, and it's already been done. I think the worst of all of this is the fact that Leslye wants to bring in Rian Johnson as a director and that she's in the talks with him, and I think that's going to even upset fans more and really create more trust issues among fans, because let's face it, a lot of fans really did not like The Last Jedi, myself included. And when you look at a Star Wars TV series with the director attached from The Last Jedi, I don't think it's going to do well at all. I think it's going to be a massive train wreck. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.